Daniel C. Green, the founder, editor-in-chief, producer, host, and everything man here at The Eagle Eye. I just have a very short message to give my fellow Americans at this Christmas time. Now, preempting here, we will be doing a Christmas special here sometime in the following week, but we'll get to that at a later date. So what I want to talk about here is very, very important, coming out of the special election here that we had just a month ago and going into the midterm elections, and it is this. As Americans, if we are going to critique candidates that we oppose, be it either Republican candidates or Democrat candidates, we must start doing a better job at making valid critiques of those candidates. By making invalid critiques, invalid complaints, various things that are just falsehoods, it makes us look stupid. It makes us look dumb. It invalidates us. Simply saber-rattling false accusations is not going to win us this election. It has never won us a major election. And if it ever did, it's not going into this election. What you have to understand is, if we're talking about Democrats, the corrupt, elitist, globalist Democrats, you are not going to just simply show up and beat them. They have a great and powerful tool: corruption. They steal the elections. It just came out today that I think it's 360,000 election ballots were false. And check that out in the news story. It's insane. And that happened in 2020. We know this happened. So we can't just keep operating as business as normal. The fact that Trump won in 2024 is perhaps a miracle from God, and I question if we've actually capitalized on that. But that's a separate issue. So going into 2026, we have to treat this differently. Let me give an example. I am in the state of Ohio, FEMA Region 5, state of Ohio, and our main Republican candidate is Vivek Ramaswamy. The national stage is very familiar with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an Indian. He's a Hindu. He's receiving a lot of flack right now. And then the main Democrat candidate is Amy Acton. She is a Pfizer lunatic. And I know there's conservatives who say they'll vote for Amy Acton over voting for Vivek Ramaswamy, and I can't comprehend that. Because no matter how bad you might think Vivek Ramaswamy is or could possibly be, Amy Acton's always going to be worse. I would simply prefer you just not to vote than to vote for Amy Acton. Accelerationist votes are, in my opinion, very misguided to idiotic. But let me explain. Many of the critiques I'm seeing of Vivek Ramaswamy right now usually end in demanding him to be deported back to India. But there's a problem with that. Vivek Ramaswamy was born in the United States. I believe he was born in the state of Ohio. Which means, since birthhood, he has been a U.S. citizen. And he has been a very, involved U.S. citizen, to the point now that he is running for elected office. And in 2024, he ran for presidency. Now he's running for governor. He was supposed to be part of the Trump administration, and that fell through for reasons we're not entirely aware of. He was supposed to work with Elon Musk and Doji. Now he's running for governor of the state of Ohio. If you're going to critique Vivek Ramaswamy, you cannot simply accuse him of being an illegal and demand him be deported back to India. No matter how pro-India he is, you cannot demand him to be deported back to India logically. Why? Because he is not Indian. Sure, he's Indian by ethnicity, but he's not Indian by nationality. He is a citizen of the United States of America since the day he was born. If you want to combat Vivek Ramaswamy, that's your prerogative, and I'm not trying to dissuade you from that. But what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to start winning elections, we have to be smarter about this. So let's say you don't want to support Vivek Ramaswamy, because Vivek Ramaswamy right now is considered the strongest candidate, especially for the Republican Party in the state of Ohio, perhaps the strongest candidate for the governor overall. Now, I am starting to question, as we head towards 2026, how will Vivek will do, as he's receiving numerous attacks from the right and the left mainly directed at him being an Indian, but on other cases too, such as his business that he was involved in before he entered the political arena, and other things from his youth and his background. I'm not going to address that right now. There will be a time and place for that. But if you're not going to support Vivek Ramaswamy, the Republican, the conservative candidate, the candidate has been endorsed by Donald Trump, you need to be smarter about how you're going to approach this. You cannot hurl baseless attacks at Vivek Ramaswamy and expect to win an election. You need to find a candidate who's either running or hasn't put his bid in yet. And I gotta be honest, the primaries are coming up. This is going to be complicated. It's not going to be an easy win at this point. You're going to have to campaign hard. You're going to need donors. You're going to need backers. You're going to need endorsements. You're going to need radio spots. You're going to need to be in the community. And a lot of those opportunities have passed. A lot of people wanted to enter this way too late. If you wanted to really get in the arena, you needed to enter when Vivek did, in early 2025. Now it's almost 2026, and I'm afraid your time might be too late. But there is a chance. And if you're going to do this, you need to be out there. You need to be actually comparing yourself to Vivek. You need to be relating to the Ohioan, to the American, to the middle class, and maybe to the upper class, to the lower class. You need to be relating to the different generations, especially to Gen Z and the young millennials, but you also need to find a way to relate to the boomers and to Gen X. Because these are the people who are going to be voting for you. You need to bring out the youth vote, and you're going to need to win the older population as well. You're going to have to be able to persuade the lower class to support you and the upper class to back you. This is not an easy thing to do. This is a very challenging thing to do. But you can't do this if you're just going to keep hurling baseless attacks at Vivek Ramaswamy. But, in turn, Vivek Ramaswamy does need to address the concerns of the Ohioan. My concerns mainly are, okay, I know he has been very supportive of the H-1B visas. That does concern me, as has Elon Musk. That also concerned me. Even times the Trump administration has been far too supportive of the H-1B visa. I say end all immigration, at least end the immigration until we have all of the illegal aliens deported. That just seems like a plausible and fully feasible, realistic plan. But we're not doing that. If you want to keep the Eagle Eye on air, have fantastic Americana and patriotic and The Eagle Eye products, I suggest you go to theeagleeye.net/shop. That's TheEagleye.net/shop. Here you'll find some fantastic products, including the Fierce Eagle Eye Tea, the Eagle Eye Bare Bones Tea, black mugs, various t-shirts, our Civilization's domain model, cutting boards, bookmarks, coffee cups, ceramic coasters, phone cases, golf balls, mason jars, and much, much more. A few of my favorite products include the Make America Attractive Again t-shirt, Deport the Ugly People. For a limited time, it's $75. Also, one of our top favorite at the Eagle Eye is the Fierce Eagle Eye Tee, one of our fundraising t-shirts. It displays the American flag patch, the Eagle Eye logo, and a fighting globalism and standing for the truth insignia on the back. Please go to theeagleeye.net/shop to keep us in the fight for truth, to fund the stand for liberty against tyranny and against globalism in this fine country. Again, go to theeagleeye.net/shop to keep us alive and on air. But today we have a very special offer for you. If you see yourself not seeing a design that you want at the Eagle Eye shop, reach out via contact@theeagleeye.net via email with your design and your product, and we will consider it, review it, and quite possibly publish it on our store at cost to you. This means that you will get a 40% discount on this product. We will give you credit in our store, and we will publish it, and it'll help fund the Operation for Truth. I went to Columbus recently. I live in Ohio. I don't live too far from Columbus. I went to Columbus recently, and it's an Indian fest. I mean, Columbus has become a city of foreigners, so many of whom I really question their citizenship. And I don't... As a Christian, as an evangelical Christian, I know we all come from one man. We come from Noah, who ultimately came from Adam. There aren't different races. We're all of one race. It's the human race. We share one blood. But there is a difference in culture. A very vast difference in culture. You could have an Indian man here in the United States who's been here for 300 years, hypothetically, and he's just as American as I am. You have an Indian man who came from India 2 years ago. I highly doubt that he has integrated and assimilated the same way I have. A Scottish man whose family's been here for 400 plus years. I'm not trying to gatekeep, per se, but it is a valid reality. You're going to assimilate more the longer you have been in that culture. It's just the way it works. If you work at a job for 1 month versus the man who's worked the job for 10 years, the man who's worked there for 10 years is obviously going to be more accustomed to it than you are. It's just how it goes. It's just how it works. It's not necessarily a disrespect to the one who's been here more recently. And we shouldn't disrespect those people because as for now, the system permits them to be here. And if they truly are trying to assimilate in our culture and become one of us, then we do have to respect that, at least to the point where we can end this mass immigration. We should encourage them to be American. So there is that side of this, and I don't necessarily support the race-motivated attacks because I know that they're not a valid critique, because I know they're not a biblical critique. But the Indian culture itself, I think, is rather lacking. I've seen countless, very non-biased videos. Peter Santinello is a great influencer on YouTube who has gone to India, and he's done videos there. I highly recommend you check them out, get an idea of what Indian culture looks like, the highs and the lows. And I'm not that impressed. I'm like, hey, if this is what you want to do in India, that's, more power to you. But in America, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just not looking for that. I'm looking for entrepreneurs and enterprisers, not this. So you have that. And I don't want to see Ohio turned into the India capital of America. I don't want to see us turned into the visa capital of America. I want us to be the American capital of America. I want us to be the gateway to America, if you will. I want us to be supporting agriculture and to be supporting the farmers, to be supporting industrialism. I want us to support, not that I'm always the most supportive of industrialism, but we are an industrial capital, or we were at one time. I want to see the re-thriving of blue-collar jobs. I want us to have more opportunities for white-collar jobs. I want us to be able to cover all the bases because Ohio is one state that really has an opportunity for every profession and career. And I want each of those to be improved and bettered upon. The one area Vivek does very well on, in my opinion, I think is with schools. But I'd like to see more opportunity from him given to the homeschoolers because that's the direction we need to go. Because as long as the government schools are just that, government schools, it's never going to truly improve. So if you're going to try and combat this, you need to be smarter about it. You need to be better about it. You need to be more effective. And what we're doing right now isn't going to win anybody an election against Vivek. All it's going to do is cause Amy Acton, an actual Democrat, unlike our current governor, who's just a closeted Democrat, to win the election. And then Ohio is going to really go to crap. And I'm not really ready for that again. We can't turn into California. We have one chance, and we're a swing state for the national elections in 2028. We can't lose the vote. So there's that side as well. So going into 2026, I have made a promise to one of my fellow employees / coworkers / teammates, partners, whatever you want to call them, a friend of mine, that we're going to start interviewing some of the other conservative and, for that matter, even Democrat candidates for the 2026 Ohio governor election. We have a few people that we are currently considering trying to reach out to interview either in person or via camera like we're doing here, online, video interview. We're going to try to have conversations with them. Eventually, we're going to have to endorse a candidate, be it Vivek Ramaswamy or be it any of the other candidates. For that matter, I would be delighted to interview Vivek Ramaswamy and ask him the questions that I, and I know many others, have for him. So these are opportunities that we are going to do our best to make possible, because ultimately they are our representatives, or they're running to be our representatives, and these are the necessary things to do. But as of the moment, I do think that it is important to not baselessly attack Vivek Ramaswamy if you're not going to try to platform somebody else. If you refuse to find a candidate who you can support and back, but you're going to continue to attack Vivek Ramaswamy, you are costing Ohio the 2026 election, and we are going to lose to wild leftist Democrats. So please, I implore you, choose a candidate who's actually going to be better for Ohio. And if you refuse to do that, and you're going to sit on the sidelines, you have a right as an American to say that, but I beg you, please don't, because it's going to be horrendous for us. You chose not to run. You chose not to get somebody else to run. So please, don't cost us another election. Get out there, campaign, support a candidate, get somebody worthwhile elected. And that's my message to you going into 2026 and going into the future elections of the United States of America. I am Daniel C. Green at the Eagle Eye. Check us out on X, Substack, Rumble, and YouTube. Go to theeagleeye.net. That's TheEagleye.net. We have a 20% off sale going on for Christmas right now at theeagleeye.net/shop. That's theeagleeye.net/shop. Go there for 20% off all of our merchandise and our subscriptions. Please subscribe, get special benefits, and be more involved at the Eagle Eye. Reach out to us at theeagleeye.net/contact or email us if you want to be involved at the Eagle Eye in any way possible. You can be a contributor, make videos, join us in an interview in our spaces. Join us at our spaces at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays, starting again in the new year. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Daniel C. Green at the Eagle Eye. Godspeed.